Hey, Cheryl, get them.
You get 'em, Pat. I get shook up just watching 'em. Do you suppose they're married?
Who could stand the worry?
Yeah. Will you look at those daredevils?
If you ask me, I wouldn't take chances like that for $1 million.
Correction, 10 million.
Hey, Buck, we got an audience.
Yeah. Tip your pretty little heads back, ladies, and watch the daredevils at work.
Hey, you know what they're saying down there?
What?
I wouldn't take chances like that for $1 million.
So who is it gets the casts and bandages? They do. Everywhere they go down there, there's something to slip on.
Yeah, or a fall over. Me, I'll work up here where I feel safer.
Eddie, you ever think about why we feel safer up on iron?
You told me often enough, because up here we know it's a hot spot.
It's like driving your car at night. You know it's dark, so you got to turn on the lights. Up here we know it's the hot spot, so we turn on our eyes. We know we got to keep everything turned on, all the time, every move we make.
Get the heavy thinker.
Well, I had to think about it when my sister got hurt. The trouble is down there, everybody gets too used to things. Every day, the same steps to the file cabinet, the same stairway to the next floor down, the same old path to the front door, the refrigerator. Movements get to be like, well, you know, mechanical. People forget how ordinary, everyday things can all of a sudden turn into traps. You know what put my sister in a cast?
What?
Paperclip.
Oh, what?
A plain old little nothing of a paperclip.
A paperclip. If you asked Pat, she'd probably say,
Oh, for Pete's sake, what's so dangerous about a little paperclip?
well, what's dangerous about a loaded gun until somebody pulls the trigger? When it's on some papers or in a drawer, a paperclip is a handy little gadget. But out of its proper place, it can become a weapon of sorts. As when it's on the floor, in the path of someone in a hurry, with their eyes turned off. Just an ordinary, everyday little paperclip. Harmless. As harmless as a bobby pin, or a cigarette butt, or a pencil. Until it's on the floor, in the path of someone whose eyes aren't turned on. How do people get hurt? By doing things those steel workers couldn't do without taking the long ride down. By getting careless, hurrying without looking, daydreaming, ramming around half blind when they're sore about something or upset. And something they'd clobber a man for up on the iron when they see something wrong, like a puddle of water on the floor, or coffee or grease or whatever, walking away from it. Instead of, as these alert girls are considerate enough to do, getting it taken care of to protect the next person, and standing watch until it's fixed. Remember, a person can get hurt the very first time he encounters an unsafe condition. So when we see something that can be slipped on or tripped over, like an electric cord stretched across an open area, which could have been plugged into a safer outlet with very little extra effort, or a file drawer or a desk drawer sticking out into the right-of-way, let's clear the road for the next person to come along and hope they'll do the same for us. Of course, a lot of the hazards we create for ourselves. We know better than to sit off balance on the edge of a chair. And we certainly should know that although we hear people walking on air, that's right, we'd better make sure we're not going to try sitting on it. Another self-made hazard, and we've all done it, is careless climbing. Whether in the office or at home, a drawer or a shelf makes a very insecure staircase. Stocking feet can be as slippery as skates, and a chair or a stack of cartons is no substitute for a ladder. Two minutes hunting up a ladder beats 2 months in a cast by anybody's figuring. Although even on a ladder, if you're not as smart as this young man who knows that the rules are for his own protection, you can go too high or stretch too far. As, by no coincidence whatever, we now see demonstrated by an equally smart young man, but at home, where the rules are less in his mind. Honestly, it's easier to move the ladder. Another set of hazards we create for ourselves comes from heedless hurrying. Here, despite the warning sign, preoccupied with the job at hand, and in too much of a rush to check out that last step. And here, tearing along in a big hurry without thinking of where we're going. Sometimes endangering other people as well as ourselves. All these hazards are just as dangerous around home. Now we know this is dangerous. The label puts us on our guard. So why do we invite unnecessary injuries when they can be prevented by alertness and plain old common sense? How often have we hurried down a stairway, not holding the handrail, not realizing things may be left half hidden on the steps, and maybe even moving through this familiar minefield, carrying loads that block our view toward that universal household hazard, the throw rug with no skid pad. And then there's that boon to the bandage makers, these very attractive high spike heels. Now, nobody would ever want anybody to look like this. But for active types of work and for walking, please, please keep conscious of the hazards. And of course, the need for caution goes double when one is in a hurry. Of course, we have to hurry sometimes. Everybody does. But to keep out of trouble, let's turn our eyes on double. Repeat. To keep out of trouble, turn our eyes on double. Which is a particularly needful reminder to the daydreamers among us, walking along with our minds on something other than what ought to be our main concern at the moment, such as where we're going. Even more inviting to an accident is getting yourself in a state of emotional upset, worried or sore at somebody. 6 o'clock and he's already late with the ice cream for Buddy's birthday party. Everything has gone wrong. The order was issued wrong, he had a bad cable pair, and to top it off, he forgot to take in the right color telephone set. For Pete's sake, wouldn't you think? So maybe you can't stop being upset, but you can realize the extra hazard when you're in that condition. And finally, there's that business ritual, the end of the day rush to the elevators and stairs, and sometimes to the doctor's office, because nobody has yet figured out how to hold onto a handrail while lighting a cigarette, or how to keep an eye on the steps while digging car keys out of a handbag, or how to manipulate both an armload of bundles and a conversation and still think of heels catching. And they're the ones who are apt to be wearing their casts and crutches, because nobody can beat the odds forever. Well, our friends of the high iron are gone from their safe haven in the sky, taking their chances on the ground like the rest of us. Of course, even on the ground, they may be safer. And why? For the simplest of reasons. Because they've gotten in the noticing habit. They can recognize danger, and they stay aware. So, just as driving at night, we turn on our lights, in office or shop, wherever we work, on the streets or at home, keep alert, keep aware, keep our eyes turned on, keep everything turned on.